But our dogs, they don't have that foresight to look into the future and go, you know, if I don't do this, they could possibly get rid of me. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick training session with Luna. She's about 5 months of age. And I'm going to basically start shifting responsibility to her. She's been with me for 3 weeks now. So she's only about 5 months of age right about now. Down, down, free. Good. Good. So she's excited. She's expecting the food. She's like, okay, let's do this exercise where, you know, I do things and you pay me. So I'm gonna pay her, but I'm gonna do it intermittently. I'm not gonna pay her every time now. Down. Good. Down. Good. So right there, I could have paid her. Now, a week ago, I would have paid her. Okay, maybe a few days ago, I would have paid her. But now I'm starting to expect it from her. I'm starting to let her know this is what we do. She's giving me a little bit of duration, right? So now, as giving me a little bit of duration, I'm just not gonna get excited. I'm not gonna go, hey, that's a good girl. Because what happens is that can cloud their judgment a little bit and it can get them too excited. You know, an excitable puppy is already excited. The last thing I want to do is add to that excitement because then they start to get distracted. So now that she's giving me a little bit of duration, I'm going to be nice and calm about it. It's like I'm expecting it. This is what needs to happen. But I'm going to give her a little bit of a bonus. And I'm doing it nice and calm. I'm not rushing, right? It's just nice and calm. And I'm just going to remind her down before I lean in, because sometimes what they do is they want to kind of meet you halfway. So I don't want that. So I'm going to remind her down. I'm going to bring it to her. Down. And I'm going to remind her down right before I leave, because I want her to know, even though you're getting paid, we're not quite done yet. You still have to do this. All right, so that's how I want it to be with any dog. Young dogs, adult dogs, I want to let them know, I'm speaking to you. This is what needs to happen. And this is how it is. What happens a lot of times with pet owners is they get excited. They see their dog do something. They go, oh my God, that's a good girl, right? And then what happens is the dog feeds off of that. And now the excitement gets everybody going. What we want to do is we want to let the dog know this is how we do things, and it's nice and calm, right? I want the dog to be relaxed. I don't want it to be tense, but I don't want it to be so relaxed that it forgets what it's doing. So here I'm gonna give her a release, and I'm gonna say, free. Luna, free, free. Good girl, good. So she's excited, right? That's a good girl. Super excitable puppy. Luna, down. So when I speak to her again, it's matter of fact. This is what we're doing. Free. She's going, aren't you gonna pay me? Free. Luna, free. So she's getting to that point where she's like, I like obedience because I get paid, right? This is something that we've worked towards for the past few weeks. But we want to let her know there's not always payment there, right? Because when the owners take her home, I want her to know, yes, they're going to pay you, but maybe not always. Maybe it's not the most convenient time to pay you. Luna, heel. Good. No, heel. Heel. Good. Free. Good. She's try to anticipate it down there. Luna, heel. Heel. Good. Good. It's excitable about that heel. Free. Good. We've been doing a lot of downs lately, as you can tell. The reason we did a lot of downs is because she didn't want to do them. So when they don't want to do something, we're like, okay, that's the thing that we're going to do a lot. Good girl. And what I'm using here is I'm using a Star Mark collar. It's a polymer pinch collar. And it's a much milder version of the prong collar. I have a couple of videos on that if you want to look into it. You know, it does give a little bit of a must element to the training. Whereas a flat collar doesn't. A flat collar can you know, a flat buckle collar can trigger a little bit of resistance, opposition reflex. Not to mention that, you know, a lot of yanking the flat collar, it's not effective, and it's only going to put a lot of pressure on the trachea, so we don't want that. Luna, heel. Good. So she's kind of hopping into that heel. Sit, sit. Good girl. Good girl. So she's expecting the food. Sit. Free. Go. Luna, heel. Good. Heel. Heel. Good. So I'm going to just kind of check her there on that one. Heel. Good. So now as I'm walking, heel. Again, I'm expecting it to happen. I am going to check her from time to time. When I say check, I mean one of these. She is a young dog, so her mind is going to wander. And my job is to make sure that I keep her on task. I'm not feeding her every step here, even though this is how we started. I am going to let her know this is what you must do, but occasionally, if you do pretty good, then I'll pay you. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to use the food as bait at this stage. Like, I'm not going to do this. Hey, 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 hey. I don't want to do that. Because then what I'm letting her know is I'm letting her know, hey, I got you. If you stop paying attention, I'm going to like lure you into it, right? I want to get past that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, if she does kind of get distracted with her puppy brain, I'm just going to check her and I'm going to remind her what we're doing. The food is going to happen when she is paying attention. So what I'm going to do is, she's getting paid for doing a good job already. So it's a paycheck for a job well done. It's not a, hey, you know, if you do this, I'll pay you, okay? I want it to be, you're doing a good job, so I will pay you. Heel. Good girl. Heel. Heel. Good. So when I'm holding the leash, I'm very relaxed about it. I'm expecting it to happen. I'm not doing this. I'm just nice and relaxed because, again, I expect it to happen, right? It needs to be done. Quick check right there. Good girl. And the checks, the corrections, they're not personal. I'm not getting angry. I'm not going, no, I'm not doing any of that. Heel. The reason that I'm not doing that is I don't want it to be personal. I want it to be quick and over and done with. And I'm just letting her know this is what we're doing. I don't ever want to be, you don't want to be the bad guy. Okay, you don't want the dog to take this personal. But you do need to enforce. You do need to let the dog know it's uncompromising. We have to do this. Heel. So even though I don't want to be the bad guy, Luna, down. Good. Even though I don't want to be the bad guy, I do want the dog to know that we're not playing around. Okay? So, instruction, this is what you need to do, and I expect it to happen, and it will happen. And when it doesn't happen, there's a consequence. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, Luna, as young as she is and as sweet as she is, no. So there's her puppy brain, down. So when she got distracted there, I just let her know we're not doing that. So I gave her a no, quick correction, and then reminded her down. So this is what I was talking about. I want to let the dog know this is what we're doing. This is what I expect to happen. This is what will happen. And if it doesn't happen, there's a consequence. Okay? And that consequence is quick and personal, and then we put you back on task. But it has to be that way. A lot of people feel bad, right, to make their dogs do things. They're like, oh, you know, he doesn't want to do it, or she doesn't want to do it, and I feel bad making him do it. He's an animal, right? Or she's an animal. They're all animals. You have to realize that even you as a person, there are things you have to do a lot of times you don't want to do, but they have to be done, and nobody feels bad for you. You have to do things when you're tired. You have to do things when you don't feel like doing them. You have to be up early when you don't want to. You have to get up early when you've had no sleep. You have to stay up late when you're exhausted, right? These are all responsibilities that you as a person have to adapt to, because there are consequences if you don't. And the thing is, our animals are no different. The only difference is we know that we can enforce them. Like, you can choose to be a really crappy person. You can choose to go, I'm not doing anything. And you can choose to just suffer the consequences, and as much as you're gonna complain, it was your choice the entire time. You chose not to get up early. You chose not to do these things that you probably knew you had to do. But our dogs, they don't have that foresight. They don't have that ability to look into the future and go, you know, if I don't do this, they could possibly get rid of me. If I don't do this, I'm gonna be a pain for my owners. If I don't do this, you know, I'm gonna have less freedom. If I don't do this, I could possibly make a really terrible choice that could put my freedom in, you know, jeopardy. Meaning, you know, quarantined, right? If she were to make a really bad decision. If the dog keeps making bad decisions, what happens is, at some point, you as the owner no longer have a choice as to what happens to your dog. Somebody will come take your dog away. So they don't know that. So it is my job as the owner to let the dog know, you're doing this. As simple as this little exercise is, you're doing it because it matters. This little exercise is just an increment of such a much broader picture. Okay, if you don't listen to me when I tell you down, okay, if you don't stay in that down when I tell you down, and I don't enforce it, then why would you listen to me when you're chasing a rabbit? If I don't enforce this, why would I suddenly enforce chase the rabbit and then come back? You see what I mean? I want the dog to know Will does not joke around. He talks, and this is what we have to do. And this is what I want from the owners. I want the owners to do this. This is dog ownership. If you do that, you will be so much happier. Your dogs will be so much happier because they'll know exactly what needs to happen. There won't be any guesswork. So that's basically what happened. Okay, so now she's been doing pretty good. Now I'm going to pay her. She's been very patient, down. And the food comes to her for this exercise. In the beginning, you've probably seen some of my videos where I put them on a down and then I release them right away to get paid. If I'm working on frequency, I'll do that, but in this case, I'm working on duration. So on duration, I want the dog to remain there. So I'm gonna bring the food to her. Now, what I'm using for this, I'm not using treats. I'm using her food. Like, her feeding time is when we train. This makes training exciting. This makes training important. It's not like, oh man, I gotta do this crap. It's more like, if I do this, I eat, I get paid. So I was gonna pay her more again. I was gonna pay her again, but she got a little bit distracted by some of the food. So I'm just gonna wait. Doing it free. Free. Come on, free. Those are rocks. You don't want to eat those. Come on. Free. Good girl. Good. Doing a heel. Good. Heel. Good girl. Heel. 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 That's better. There you go. Heel. 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 Good. Heel.